Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Overturf from WTFradio.me. I'm sitting here with Vaughn Miller. How you doing today, Vaughn?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay, listen, Vaughn is the founder of Prestonwood Polo and Country Club in Oak Point, Texas. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. I appreciate it, and we appreciate WTF Radio. Prestonwood Polo and Country Club is north of Dallas. It's west of Frisco, and north of Dallas, west of Frisco, right near Little M, between Denton and Little M, and it's essentially in horse country. It's what we call the Highway 380 corridor. That's the Highway 380 that runs east and west in North Dallas and Tarrant counties, runs from Denton all the way, connects I-35 all the way to Highway 75, Central Expressway, and we lie right in the heart of that community.
What is that? How did you acquire that location? Was that a family thing, or did y'all just pick it out for the very purpose of that?
That's a good question. Well, actually, what happened was the original polo in Dallas was played at Willow Bend Polo and Hunt Club, founded by the great Norman Brinker. And this was at the end of the North Dallas Tollway, if you can believe this, in the 1980s at the Tollway and Park Lane in Plano, where Willow Bend Mall sits today. That's actually was all farms.
Right, exactly.
Back in the 80s. Well, Norman went out there. He's a real visionary, obviously, in the restaurant industry, and he's also was a visionary in the polo world. He went out there and built this 200-acre polo club in what people really called the middle of nowhere at that time, and it was a huge success. He, at one time, was the biggest polo club in the world. Can you believe it? Right here in North Dallas. Well, the reason was, at those days, the only place you could drink in Plano was at the Polo Club. That's the only place that had a license, because he was Brinker. You know, he had a license to sell and buy and sell beer and wine. So people would go out there on a Sunday because they couldn't go anywhere else, and would draw these huge crowds. And what he really did was he exposed a lot of people to polo that hadn't seen it before.
Right.
Well, fast forward, what happened was, of course, that land value skyrocketed, and it was just too much real estate, and Norman was transitioning in his life, and he decided to sell all that. And a lot of the guys that played with Norman settled in Oak Point, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump, if you will, north of Willow Bend. So, as Willow Bend was north of Dallas, well, Oak Point is north of Dallas, and Frisco, and Plano, and so forth. It's also out in the growth corridor.
Right.
And another thing about it is the soil. The soil conditions in Oak Point are unlike any other in the state of Texas. It's all deep, sandy loam.
Oh, that's right.
Now, that is perfect for horses, because what happens when a horse is running and so forth, he's putting 1,000 pounds of pressure on the ground, and it's soft on his feet. It doesn't hurt him, and they won't get injured. Also, the other great thing about it is if it rains, what happens is the water just goes right through that soil, and you can still play. You can have 5 inches of rain at our place, and we can play that afternoon. It won't hurt the ground. So that's another great reason to be out there. And the other is it's just a great community. We're in the heart of the growth corridor. We're in the heart of Frisco, Little Elm, Oak Point's all right there around us. So we're in a good area, very accessible to folks.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Norman Brinker. I used to work at Steak and Ale on Spring Valley back before he went with Pillsbury.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
So that was the early 70s. So I know quite a bit about his company, and I'm not surprised he had the first liquor license out there, because he was like the mogul of restaurants worldwide. I mean, his training and, his knowledge of how to grow companies and everything else.
Yeah, he sure was. He was a great man, and my wife and I were very close to him and his wife Tony before he passed, and he was very supportive of what we were doing. Glad to see that we did. In fact, our development, just I'll sidebar this real quick. We have 200 acres out there. We're going to develop 21 single-family home lots around the polo field. It'll be nothing like it, and one of the roads we're going to call is Norman Brinker Way.
Is that going to be something similar to what he did up at Willow Bend?
It is.
Housing?
It is similar. We're going to have a housing development that'll surround the polo fields, but he decided to sell the fields. Well, we're going to keep the polo fields, so you can actually own your own home and overlook a polo field, and there's nothing like it actually in the world that we know of today. You cannot buy any real estate in the United States that actually backs up to a polo field. You can get plenty of golf courses.
Yeah, that's right.
But nothing in polo. So we're going to be really unique. It's a really cool deal.
Well, I've seen your land out there. I did some video for you. How many acres is that around the polo field and all that?
Well, a polo field is huge. A polo field is 10 football fields. It's 1,000 feet long by 500 feet wide. Imagine this, 10 football fields. It's 15 acres. So you need that much real estate, because in polo you've got 4 players on a side. That's 4 horses on each team. That's 8 players riding horses, and then you have 2 mounted umpires. So you need a lot of real estate to play the game to begin with. And our development will surround 3 polo fields, and each home will have a beautiful view of the polo field.
How far are you from Lake Louisville there? I know it's not far.
It's not at all. It's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes. The new bridge has just come across. The new toll bridge, Lake Louisville toll bridge, connects us now to I-35, and we're 5 minutes.
So that's going to be like the next Frisco. Is that correct?
It really is. It's right in the heart of the growth path, and we're real excited about it.
Okay, well, let's take a little break here. We'll be right back. I'm sitting here with Vaughn Miller. This is Jeff Overturf with WTFradio.me.